Well then, tell me, what was it like today?
Good. Last year I came. I didn't come till a bit later last year, but it's definitely bigger this time. It's got really nice buzz. It's sort of that happy medium between the bigger shows in Birmingham. A variety of and a lot of different exhibitors, and not just the tech stuff, which has been really nice. It's good to see those things, but there's a lot of different things here.
Best thing today?
Do you know what? I think it was the lady we met just now. We met a lady just now, and the one before. She's got a charity. Was shocked that we weren't charging more for the network, and also she wants to come on our podcast, and she talked about coming in and all the things that she could do in the network. So that I said to you afterwards, I was like, wow, if everybody was as upbeat and positive like that, it'd be great.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm from Outstanding Compliance, and I'm here today at the COTS 2024 show. It's been a great show so far. There's been some incredible delegates, and there's an amazing amount of exhibitors, and the networking has been fantastic.
Hiya, I'm Pearl from the Care and Occupational Therapy Show. I'm the marketing director. We're here at the Care and Occupational Therapy Show today. Had a really wonderful day. Everything's gone really well. Loads of visitors. The exhibitors are all really happy. Speakers have been really happy. If you want to come down again next year, we're running again in July. So come down. We'll put some information out soon.
Well, there you go. I hope we surprised you there with that introduction today. Not only did we have the remarkably old countdown from StreamYard, but we then had some clips from where we were yesterday, which was the COTS show down in Exeter at the West Point Arena. It was a busy old day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. As I said, it was. Last year I got there. I didn't get there at the beginning. Obviously, this time we did. It's funny because we'd had that discussion. There was different exhibitors there than often when I go to the NEC or I've been up north, because I think it's first time I've been at a show where I've been actually exhibiting, and I was saying to somebody, gosh, it just felt like it was really different down there. But of course it was going to be, because you've got different people. It's completely different end of the country. But I hadn't really thought about it. I just thought, well, care is care. But there are going to be fundamental differences, with the people that come, somewhat the people that exhibit. But yeah, it was nice to see a lot of different, and not all just tech. In fact, not much tech.
No, not much tech.
Actually much tech.
No, it was, well, although, let's define that. There wasn't...
Oh, sorry.
There wasn't much tech that's like apps and software. Yeah. Although there was lots of assistive tech that was really quite interesting. We'll talk a bit more about some of those in a minute on this show. We were quite disappointed, though, in one thing with the show. And I'm not going to talk about the stand and all of that issue and whatever, although I have just mentioned it kind of. But I think our biggest disappointment was that outside the show arena, there was a massive great barn that had the sign sheep shearing on it. And we were kind of disappointed that sheep shearing wasn't available to watch as part of the day.
We thought, well, I said, let's go in Skive and do some sheep shearing, but we didn't.
I love that.
And when we came back, I said it didn't look like it was on anyway, but I think sheep shearing would have been quite good fun.
Yeah. Have you ever sheep sheared?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous now. I'm really jealous.
We used to go on farm holidays when I was younger. And up the road where I live, up in Cranham, they have like some sort of fate show thing or whatever. And I think that people that own the farms, they open them. Open farm, that's what it's called. I think it's called Open Farm Day. Stands to reason. And they literally just open it up, but it's like a village show thing. But you're allowed to go in and then milk the cows and shear the sheep and stuff. So it does make me feel a little bit when I do it, because I've had a go at doing barbering using clippers.
Yeah.
It frightens me because I did think, what happens if I catch them? Yeah, and when they go from being really woolly to like that, it makes me feel a bit. I prefer them when they're all woolly.
Yeah, I get that. You know what the trend is on sort of TikTok and Instagram at the moment? Which it's not shorn sheep, it's shorn alpacas.
Yeah. Oh, yes, doing them with different styles.
It's so funny because once you take all of the furry wool off of them, and especially when they just leave that like ruffle around the head, it just looks like this. Yeah, but it just looks like this head on this beanpole thing, and they're so skinny underneath. There's so little of them.
I bet there's somebody that says that that's alpaca shaming or something like that. There'll be some that'll say that it hurts their feelings and it's embarrassing them.
Oh,
they could be right.
They could be. And so at some point it will have to stop because someone legislates against it and says you can't shame a alpaca.
With dogs. I've seen it with dogs. People have said you shouldn't shame dogs.
You shouldn't shame dogs because it hurts.
Well, like feelings. If you get them to do something or you make them do something knowing that they might. And you know, when my dog, she'll jump up on the chair, and sometimes she misjudges it and they sort of fall and they sort of go, oh, that's shameful, wasn't it? And you kind of laugh. But there's somebody probably that is fighting for dogs' rights to not be shamed.
One of the things we'll go back to the show because otherwise we'll just end up talking about dogs and sheep and you know it just become a menagerie of animal stores this morning and we shouldn't let it degrade into that. But one of the things that I found quite interesting about the show was the variety of stuff on show there. I mean, there was, as you came in, there was someone with industrial washing machines that you could literally live in. They were so big, you know, and that's quite impressive because obviously I imagine that the laundry at you know, care homes and stuff like that is immense.
And you know what
obviously laundry service people as well, so I guess they kind of fighting.
Just by there, they had the people that I think it was blood motorbikes or something like that that they would carry. I think it was something like that. Well, do you know what it strikes me is you go to those shows and you see, as you said, the variety. Because actually what I find is when I try and say to people about the Care Connect network that they'll sort of say, well, I don't really fit into the care world. And I'm like, well, actually you do, because there's a whole big market out there that is the same said about disability, which much overlaps in there, that people miss a massive area to get into, massive area. Many businesses, you know, like I've said, I had on before, a pest control guy. Bed bugs can be rife, you know, rats, all sorts of things. And actually, if you get known to a particular company or whatever, that they're going to use you over someone else. So it really makes sense. Any business owners out there, suppliers, really, it makes sense for you to speak to Care. Particularly if it's something a bit different that you do, because at some point in time they may want you. But that's another reason why the care sector needs the network, because at some point you're going to need something, and that place with the pretty letters online isn't always the best place to go to when you don't know anything about that company.
Yeah,
I think that's yesterday what. For me, my point was trying to get across to suppliers is that I know that when I speak to care providers, they say, actually, we didn't really want to go to the internet to find someone. We didn't really know where to go. We actually would have preferred somebody more local. You know, and when you do look up online now, you get, before you've even done anything, you're 2 pages in with all the sponsored ones. And actually that wastes time, whereas being able to go to a network where you can say, I need this, who can help me?
It just makes sense, doesn't it? Just makes sense. some of the things that really caught my eye.
I know which one.
Really? What are you going to think? What do you think I'm going to say? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For anyone that's listening to this, Marianne was there miming, like, I'm a little teapot, short and stout, and pour, tip me up and pour me out. So there was a manufacturer there of easy, I don't know what you want to call them, easy tip, more accessible, more inclusive kettles that enable you to pour them really easily and whilst remaining on a central point so that they don't go everywhere and you're not going to spill stuff, which were brilliant. And we had a great creative conversation with them. I'm going to let it be known now that I have suggested to them that one of their kettles, which is coloured in a particular way, they end up putting a penguin face on. So you heard it here as well. If they end up doing that, that was my idea. All right. They may not. They may ignore that, but I think it's a great idea. In fact, I might actually create sticker kits for that kettle and then sell them. So that you can customize their particular kettles, which is good. But they were, I thought that's a tremendous product, and I could see the necessity for that in so many areas. Not even just
no,
like
they said also, didn't they, that when grandparents have them and then their grandchildren come over, they're very excited to make a cup of tea for them or drink for them because they can get to use this kettle. Can I say what I was most impressed with yesterday? This is on a personal level. I think you're going to know what I was most impressed about. That often there's lots of training companies. There's usually lots of e-learning. And I don't really think there was much yesterday as I went round. But what I was really, really impressed with was that, I'm trying to diversify what I do, was that as I went round, virtually all the training companies were run by people that have training qualifications.
That's good.
Not that were teachers. And they're absolutely, it was wonderful. And actually, we had conversations then about actually how we could collaborate. And instead of the wall going up, no, it was actually, yes, we do this, you do that. What can we do together? How marvelous is that?
No, that is marvelous, and that's what it should be, really. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of the opposite of that, especially with some conversations around LinkedIn and some posts around LinkedIn, where people have said, I've run a training company, I've run it for years. What's it based on? It's based on experience, but which is fine. Experience is very handy, and outcome arguably is handy, but actually they didn't feel like having a qualification in training was necessary. And actually, I would then hazard a guess that perhaps they don't really measure their outcomes properly either, because they don't even know what they are looking for.
I think you'd be quite right to. And that's one of the biggest things people take away from any conversation, not even when I'm teaching people, because I do feel passionate about it. But I think the other thing that I highlighted to someone the other day was that, so if someone says to me that they, maybe I'd say to them, do you want to do that qualification that I do? Or, have you got training qualification? No. And I said, so let me get this right. So you want other people to invest in themselves by investing in you, but you're not willing to invest in yourself to get yourself qualified to be doing the thing that you want them to invest in you. Really? To me, that's a little bit hypocritical, really.
Yeah.
That if you want, do you see what I mean? If you want someone to invest in you, and they're going to trust you, and they're going to pay you, then surely you've got to pay somebody else to make you be as good at what you know. that you say you're at, and that's fine. It may be that people absolutely, it's a walk in the park. I would hazard a guess actually that for most people, pretty much, and somebody that I worked with quite a lot that I taught, I always start off by saying, if you've been training a long time, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. I'll still make it relevant, because it may just be that a lot of it cements what you do. It may be that it gives you the confidence to say, do you know, I wasn't sure if I was doing it right, but actually I know that I am doing it right now. So it gives people that confidence. But I just don't see, I would never think that I should be doing something and have confidence that I'm doing it right if I hadn't actually put the hard yards in to go and get that bit of paper. So that's why I know that when I have conversations, and that, you know, I've just written a course, I write other people's training for them. How can they have confidence in me? Because what I do, I don't know everything, but I've done the work to be able to say to people, this is why you can trust me.
Yeah. And
that's not arrogance, that's confidence in what I do.
Yeah. But confidence has to come from the right place as well, doesn't it? And I think, you know, I think I could be confident. I could be confident that I suppose I could be confident that I'm, you know, quite good at football. I'm not. You know, it's I could be confident that I'm quite good at football because you know, I'm able to kick a football round and I might be able to score a goal once in a while. And if I play against a load of people that are a load of rubbish, I might be quite good. That but it doesn't make me good at football. I'm never going to play football for England, right? I'm never going to play football for a local league club because I'm not that good.
It's a really difficult one, because I think that's why, you know, when I talk about and we talk about the education system as well, and that, you know, I'm not necessarily an advocate for some of the way that things are and everything having to be about exams. But the issue we do have is that whether it's a job you're going for or whether it's for a course you're going to college for, whatever, we have to have some measure, you know. And that's why, you know, the course I've just developed, I've said that anybody that delivers it for me, I do have a criteria that it will be for me to decide if I felt that somebody could deliver it. But in terms of actually being able to be on the course, the people that have accredited it have said, how come they've got to have that? And I said, because although I still know that some people won't have a certain level of knowledge going into it, even if they have got the AET, I need them to. I need them to, because that's where I'm aiming it at. And so actually, if you want to do that, then you've got to have that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And that's the way life is. It's the way that it goes with accredited qualifications. And I think there's a lot of people making a lot of money out of just writing things and people trusting, but there not being a huge amount of substance to that necessarily.
No, that's true. Now, listen, I've got to apologise to all of our watchers stroke listeners at this moment. If you can hear a buzzing whilst you're listening to this today, it's Frederick the Fly. I mean, this is quite a sensitive mic, and so it does pick up a lot. You can't hear it. Okay, that's good. But Frederick the Fly has decided to enter the room from where, I don't know. Hopefully, he's not going to land in my ear. Well, he won't land in my ear because I've got headphones on. They're amazing creatures, flies. Imagine if you know, I've got, since I've done the update on my phone, I've now got a pedometer built into the home screen on the phone, and it's telling me how many steps that I do a day. Imagine if you had a pedometer, if you like, but for a flyometer for a fly. I mean, it'd be miles that it flies in the short period that it's alive.
That noise of a fly, there's only two things that a lot of things don't like. I you know, I don't.
It rankles you, doesn't it? It gets to you.
Yeah? If a dog barks next door, I can cope with that. There's two things. Quite often, if I have this door open, flies come in. But there's two things. There's that, and when I'm trying to listen to it, so a fly just keeps going on, and literally I can feel myself getting wound up. But the other one is when you're trying to watch something or you're listening to something and those blasted scooter things go up the road, like moped scooter things. And you just miss it. And they're going, and you miss it.
Yeah.
And they just keep going round and round. I've just seen the fly made an appearance.
That's Frederick. Yeah. He's
Those
trying.
are the only two things really that really make me feel really instantly angry.
Well, it's that and quite uncomfortable. Flies, the noise of a fly always makes me feel quite uncomfortable. Yeah. It takes me back to, and for anyone that's old enough, this will remind you as well. And I'm sorry for reminding you, but it takes me back to school days with the chalk going down the board, which of course lots of kids will now never know that because they don't have chalkboards in school anymore. But that noise of that down a chalkboard.
Do you know what they still do have in school though, which is really funny to hear my children. Though my youngest has got his last day at school at primary tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's not bad at all. And I'm not really bothered. But is the wet paper towel. He said we still get told about if your leg's falling off, if your head's falling off, if you're bleeding out, put wet paper towel on it, it'll be okay.
They still dish out the old wet paper towel. Right.
They still do it.
I say it's a miracle cure for everything.
No tracing paper toilet roll though.
Do you know what? This is the way my mind works, folks. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you all now, and then you'll probably never listen to us again. But there we go. But my creative mind immediately goes to right. Yesterday, and I'm going to segue it in so that we talk about some things that we actually saw as well. You had at the show, which is from someone that's a supplier member to the Care Connector network. You had some patches.
Yes.
Right.
Which got one on there, actually.
Which are patches, wearable patches with like a fingerprint pattern, and they help with various conditions, and they help. You have to use different. Yeah, they use. You have to use them for different patches for different things, etc. And then we had a gentleman come up to us at one point and talk to us about stem cell patches, and he was wearing a stem cell patch on the back of his neck, and apparently they interact with your stem cells. I can't even imagine how any of this technology works, but I was flabbergasted. I wonder. So my mind then was going to, I wonder how cool it would be to be an exhibition like we were yesterday that's around sort of technologies and stuff like that in the care show, and literally have some wet paper towels and try and convince people that we had the solution for most things with wet paper towels. Go, look, they've been doing it in schools for years.
It strikes me that people will be taken in by, if you've got, we had this conversation yesterday.
You got the patter.
Well, it was with a training company, and I said I just sort of shake my head sometimes at this because I think people need to start learning. People, not just people selling, because the responsibility isn't, well, it is to a degree, but I think people that are buying need to start asking more questions. They need to, whatever it is you're buying, and to be looking at. I know we had Paula on. I was on a panel once with her, and she was saying about when any of these tech solutions, any of them, particularly the software or the apps and those kind of things, to actually not be buying necessarily at the shows, or have somebody that is a champion for that kind of thing. Because what happens is they'll buy that solution. The company won't necessarily know, depending on how they are, I'm going to say how good they are at sales, in terms of finding out what that client's needs are. They will sell them something they don't need. But as Paula said, unfortunately, those companies are then almost locked in, not by contract, but by actually changing to a different supplier. It's just too much grief. So they end up staying with something that just doesn't work for them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that's that bit about when you are selling, to actually know your market and actually find out from your clients or potential clients. We had Dean on once before, and he positive, what's it called? I can't remember what they're called now. But they actually let people try out the behaviour, smart behaviour, that's it. He lets them try it out to see if it works for them.
Yeah.
Really, it does.
And then he gives them the analytics back, and it's based on the diagnostics, if you like, and the analytics as to whether or not they could then go forward with it, which is good, because it proves that it works.
Yeah. And anybody that's going to be funding that can actually see that it's there. So I would just be very, very wary. And my advice to any suppliers that are selling to the care sector, that hard sell or being gimmicky might get you that sale then, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say that they're going to get another sale afterwards or be recommended, because they might be locked in and you may get that sale then, but that's not necessarily going to be a happy customer. So really get to know what their needs are. And sometimes saying no to a customer is the way to go. I say no to people sometimes. I don't think you should do that qualification. I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. I really want to reach out today to anyone that's listening or watching this in the today or in the next week or so as this goes out. I want to know what your kind of experiences are of exhibitions and the sort of sales part of exhibitions, and also what you get back from people that attend the kind of exhibitions that you go to. I feel that's really interesting as well. And I just want to talk about that for a minute, because there were we had very different experiences of people. I can see you laughing about it, that came to it. Now, when I started thinking back about it last night, kind of, in a kind of reflective mode on the day, I actually thought, and I was speaking to Ian about it as well, I actually thought that there was a positive case there, that some people that came very early on actually didn't want to be there, and that and if this was you, sorry, but I'm just going to be blunt with you, you didn't want to be there. And I think I've worked it out. I think some of you had worked out it was a nice sunny day, you could get the day off work, you could come along to the exhibition because it was in your field, you could literally walk round, then disappear off, because actually I saw that happen, right? And it's very telling when someone comes up to you and you actually see them walk past. I mean, I was deliberately stopping people, right? I was, jumping out in front of people and whatever to stop them. But, some people were quite passive on their stands, and therefore, they could just walk past them. But it's really telling when you stop someone and someone says, "Oh, I'm not actually here to learn anything or see anything." And you just think, well, why are you here then? It kind of reminds me of, I'm going to go off a little bit of a tangent, but you'll understand exactly why. It kind of reminds me of when I used to be an employer and I used to interview people. I had, on occasions, some people turn up for interview and they came in and they sat down and they immediately went, I don't actually want the job, but if you could just sign this bit of paper, because I need you to do that so I can go and claim my credits, my benefit and whatever. I absolutely flabbergasted, but it kind of felt like the same thing.
Do you know, I think what I find, obviously, because what we do, it's not a thing. We're not selling an actual thing. I think
tangible
some of that
unit.
Yeah, I think some of that doesn't help. Well, it is what it is. But I found it really interesting that the best conversations were with people that genuinely wanted to, as you said, learn and wanted to. And I think, again, the care sector needs to sort of, I think many suppliers will get on board with it. Some don't, and that's fine. They don't need to. They might pay thousands or hundreds to be a show. But that actually, if the care sector is going to change, the care sector has to make the effort to change. And you know, at the end, we had some really lovely, very somewhat short conversations with people that were shocked we weren't charging more to be in the network, particularly for individuals, and that really then, and that they were really wanting to see what they could get. Can we do this in there? Can we do that? And we're like, hell yeah, you can do whatever. But really wanting to. And the lady at the end, I think she'd had her stand. It was called Parent, something to Parent, I think it was. And really, really enthusiastic, saying, you know, we said about her coming on the podcast. She said, oh, I can get somebody else on there and I can do this and I'm going to spread the word. And I'm like, great. That's what it is. And what I found, and I said to you, was that particularly at the end when we tried to get people to do videos, they were like, I don't want to. And I'm going, but it's giving you a chance to like promote your business. I don't want to. And what I find really, really surprising is that I go up and you speak to people, and even when people speak to me about anything that someone says is boring, I'll always try and genuinely to be interested and find something to be interested and be excited about. And some people just aren't. And I'm like, why is somebody going to want to buy from you? Like, I genuinely get excited about aims and objectives. I know that's sad, but it's what I do.
No, it's not sad. It's not sad. It's it's what you do. You know.
But why I talk about this for teaching? What if I say to my delegates, you've got to be interested in what that's your moment at the beginning. I always say to them that that's your moment to sell why you're there. So tell them why you got into whatever it is, why you're interested in it. That's your moment. That's your hook. That why someone should listen to you and why they should learn from you.
Yeah, but listen, you have just raised a really interesting point, right? Because what you said was, I know I talk about aims and objectives, and that's sad, right?
No, as in that it's not.
Yeah, because it's not sexy. But this is, but this actually then brings us back to, and sorry, folks, I know we moan on about this a lot, but you know, it's good to. It's good to. I mean, it's cathartic for me for a start, and if I don't do it, I'm going to go bonkers. But actually, isn't too much of what's going on out there, and especially on social media and whatever, people literally selling nothing. Literally selling absolutely nothing. What they sell is path. That's what I like to call it, path. Smoke, right? Because they just go on about stuff which honestly feels like just magic dust made up stuff, right? You know, it's like, oh, the thing that you need in your life is to have a thing. If you have a thing in your life and it's, you know, you just need to really believe in the thing, and when the thing happens and you sense the thing and you know the thing, and deep down inside and emotionally you understand the thing, then the thing will happen for you. Stop limiting the thing that it is that you have, which is a power. It's like,
but can you pay me? But can you pay me though?
Yeah,
they want paying.
Yeah, but in order to, I can help you unlock the thing that you need, the thing, by coming and doing a course with me. If you come and do a course with me, I'll unlock the thing, and the thing will be bountiful and beautiful and all over the place and lovely, and everyone will understand your thing and whatever. And it's like, no, actually, everybody has this inside of them. Everybody has the thing that they're really good at, right? And I'm trying to say this now without sounding like these people that go on about the thing, but everybody has this thing that they're interested in and whatever. My son is interested in theoretical physics, right? He is interested in some really, what I find, completely tedious subjects, right? But I love his passion for those things, right? And wouldn't the world be an incredibly boring place if we all were passionate about the same thing? But apparently what we're meant to all get excited about is being passionate about nothing, about path, about wishy-washy nothingness. I want people to be boring, geeky people that are passionate about really maybe unsexy, what seemingly to the exciting people in life is, you know, not stuff that you should be talking about.
Otherwise what we've got is
a world full of nothing.
Yeah, it is really. And that like I said, I teach all sorts of people, from train drivers that often will say, I know it seems boring, and I'm like, no, seriously, I can get excited by a lot of stuff. And so now when I go through life, I'm like, oh my God, I learned about that. But why does it excite? Because they knew what they were talking about, and their passion came through. And, you know, when I teach, I am very passionate about stuff. And that's the feedback I get back from people, is that you can see that that I do love what I do. And that if you want anybody to buy into, if you want anybody to buy into what it is you're selling, because effectively I am selling, then you need to show why. You need to show why, you know. And so that's why. So when I am teaching people how to teach, I'm sort of being a role model as well. But I say there isn't one set way of doing it, but the one crucial thing is that you need to be passionate about it. Don't do something if you're not passionate about it. But like I said, I work with people that work in the drainage sector, and so quite frankly, they're passionate about that. They work down sewers. They're passionate about that. And I've had somebody George did his micro teach on fatbergs. Oh my gosh, I learned so much from that. But because of his passion for it, it's then made me think twice about what, you know, and then I educate other people on it. Because he educated me on it, it's not someone saying, don't do that, don't put that down the sink, because that's why people don't take things on board. It's you say, don't put it down the sink because, and it's that education bit. And that's why a lot of people, when they train people, they don't. All they actually do is just tell people things. And so when those people go to use that information, they've been told it.
I don't even think it's like, don't put things down the sink because, right? I actually think it's about, I actually think when you train properly and when you educate properly, what you're doing is you're actually starting at the end, right? So you're impassioning people to the end goal, right? Yeah, and it's a bit like how really, and I'll tell people this is really how you should do social media as well. It's really about that end goal bit. If you actually explain to people what on earth this stuff is doing to the planet, right? So that people are like, well, why? Actually asking the questions, well, what can we do about it? Why are we doing this? What's happening or whatever? Then you can go back to the beginning and go, right, we can do something about it. One of the things we can do is not put this down the sink. And because if we then do this happens, and then that negates that. And then people have completely bought in because they're passionate about it in the first place, because they understand what the end goal is.
The problem is too much about people that don't know how to do training properly, is that it just becomes an information dump. And people don't want to be dumped on. People don't want information just dumped on them, because it just
dumping me.
It just becomes another boring thing. Whereas actually, if you can make it personal to that person, and that's, you know, what I try to do with people is trying to make it so that it's meaningful to them. Same as, you know, with my son, he's going to hopefully go off and do music, and he might have to redo his maths. But a lady I know said that what will happen is, because he's got his own teaching business now, when it comes to potentially retaking his maths, they can make it relatable to, okay, so you've got to work out how much time you need to put between the lessons. You need to work out how much you're going to charge, all this kind of stuff, and it then becomes meaningful. But when you just tell people stuff and it's not meaningful, it's just going to go over there, and then, you know, at best people check out, and at best people become disruptive. And it just then, even within a company, with an organization, you get that kind of apathy. Whereas if people actually know that they're being invested in, because that's what training is, they're being invested in, But also I trained in the prison last week, and 2 of the people on my course already, the education manager has said those 2 people, she'd like them to go on to do their teaching qualification to become teachers. How marvellous is that? That you know, that's what they want to do. And those people potentially, I know at least one of them might not have stayed as a prison officer for good. But this way, she's going to stay within the prison system because she loves what she does, but she might have got bored of it. I just think it's great.
Absolutely. Oh, someone nearly tried to call you. Right,
it's my son.
We're gonna finish today with a few little things to do with a better way of life. Just you know, a little bit of self promotion, because we haven't done that for a while, like at least since last week. Anyway, but first of all, though, we're just going to give you a little tip. Right at the beginning of this episode, you saw us do those little videos, and just for anyone out there that's wanting to produce stuff for social media or whatever, we were using these. Look at that lovely little microphone. It's quite funny actually, because obviously if you hold it there like that, it looks almost big enough to be a proper microphone, doesn't it? Hello. But obviously as you bring it in, it's like, and that's perspective, folks. That's perspective, you see. So taking it back to the for people that are listening, I was holding the microphone, a tiny microphone, up close to the camera, so it actually looked like a full-size microphone, and then I was bringing it away. But yeah, that you can buy these very cheaply. There's a little adapter bit which goes in the bottom of your phone. This is a USB-C one because my phone's that way around, or you can get one for an Apple phone, and then you can buy these little microphones. They just make the difference if you're doing anything like that with a phone, where you're interviewing someone, because otherwise the noise from around it would pick up all of the noise into your phone at the same time, and that just obviously makes the nearby voice get picked up more directly. So that's really useful. Really useful bit of kit to go and buy if you're doing anything like that. They're about 30 quid for a kit like that. There you go. Just a little tip. But we also yesterday, and if you're listening and you want to, please do let us know. But we're giving out some of these at the show yesterday, and there will be some guests, I think, coming up from yesterday's event on this podcast. But we did have some coasters. There we are, our first bit of merch, Better Way of Life podcast. If you'd like one of these, I can send you one in the post. So just comment and let us know, clearly with your address, because I'm not a mind reader. And we'll send you a coaster. You know, do what you like with it, as long as you. One thing is, if you do get one, do post. And kind of a final thing to say, which is that we have started a little network as well to go alongside the podcast. A group of people who probably don't fit in other networks, or maybe are fed up of other networks because those networks don't. They charge the earth for a start and then don't necessarily do anything for those people. So if you would like to join our network, please do. This episode will be going out before the end of July. There is an offer on before the end of July. If you go to abetterwayoflife.co.uk, that is abetterwayoflife.co.uk. I might even have a banner. Let's see if I have. Oh, there we go. At the bottom of the screen now. I don't know what's going on with my camera at the moment. It's going a bit. But if you go to the website, you can sign up for that free using the discount code until the end of the year. I might have to buy a new camera. I think this one's on its way out. There we go.
And there's one other thing. There's one other thing as well.
Yes.
That's exciting. That should be tomorrow. To be looking out for is what we've got. Is I've got a new course coming out, which I should be getting finalisation tomorrow, and so it should be opening bookings next week.
That is a marvellous thing. I've gone back. What I was doing, I was going back to the other camera, because that camera is just seriously. I think maybe it's getting too hot. Or maybe I'm just too intense. No, not hot. I was going to say that, and then I was thinking, no, that just sounds wrong. Maybe I'm just too intense for the camera, and it's deciding that it wants to give up. So do check out Marianne's new course as well. We will be
any qualified trainers out there.
Yes.
Any AT level or equivalent kettles. So anybody who's been training for a long time, anybody who wants to change up the training, anybody who's maybe been promoted into a sort of maybe training manager role or something, or people that have just started their own businesses that might be writing their own training. Aimed at you.
Aimed at you. Do get in touch. And
you won't have to do endless amounts of assignments.
Unless you want to.
There is some work to do. There is some work to do, but I've written it from a trainer's perspective, and a busy mum and a busy businesswoman. I've written it so that it does what you need it to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. Sorry about my camera deciding to play merry havoc with us in the middle of that. So if you saw it flash off and on and whatever, that's what was going on there. Until next week, we'll say goodbye, and I'll just leave you with this, which is my recommendation for listening for the week. So this is the wonderful album. This could be Texas. By English Teacher. I always enjoyed my English teacher. Well, I always liked English lessons at school. That was one lesson that I actually really enjoyed. I loved English.
Like the teacher, probably as well.
I found the teachers quite engaging.
Yeah.
There you go. And they actually taught very well as well. We actually went. We actually knew what we were meant to be getting out of the subject. Unlike various other teachers along my academic career path.
Maths teachers often.
Maths teachers were pretty bad. Yes.
My whole psychology degree.
And my and I have to say, I'm not going to name them, but my ethnicity and cultural diversity lecturer at university, who knows what they were going on about? Nobody did. There we go. Until next time, thanks for watching. We hope you have a good and pleasant week. Bye for now.